Sandy is the victim of a serious crime. She has injuries that could have killed her. The police are investigating what happened to Sandy and who did this to her.
What happened then?
And he punched me in the mouth, just here.
And your friend Trisha, when did she come in?
After that. And then she gave him what for, and he chased her outside.
What happened then?
And then he came back inside with, what do you call them? A star picket.
In a crime like this, it's important for the victims, their families and the whole community to see that justice is done, and that people who break the law are brought to account for their actions.
Hey mate, you Robbie Clark?
Yes, I am.
Yep, no worries. You're under arrest for assaulting Sandy Collins. Alright, come with us. We'll sort this out at the station.
Robbie's being charged with unlawfully causing grievous harm. This is a serious crime that will require him to appear in the Supreme Court. Just because he's been arrested, it doesn't mean he will be kept in jail. He's going to apply for bail. He will be released on bail and Sandy will be told. He may be told that he is not to see Sandy or anyone involved in the case. You need to tell the police if he comes to see you so that they can take action.
Hey, how you going? You feeling any better today?
No, not much.
Hey, Barbie reckons she saw Robbie at the pub again last night, making a fool of himself. He hasn't shown up here, has he?
I wouldn't dare. I still reckon you should let me fix him up. I'll bust that.
No, I told you. What's the point of you getting the shit over that mongrel? You stay out of it. We have to do it white fella way. They'll bloody sort him out.
Yeah, he must be up for court soon, eh? What's that?
I don't know.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions will send you all the details of the charges that have been laid in the case you're involved with. The letter will also tell you when you will be needed to give your evidence in court.
April 21. That's about 5 weeks. They take their time, these mob.
The court process is slow. Unfortunately, these things take time. You will be sent some information about the Witness Assistance Service. The Witness Assistance Service is there to help you with information and support during court proceedings. We can help you to understand how the courts and legal system works. Be with you as you give evidence in court. Give you information about welfare, health and counselling services for victims of crimes. Help you find babysitting or transport to get to court. Organise interpreting if you have trouble speaking English and help you to prepare a victim impact statement.
What's that?
I don't know. I don't know if I can do this.
Oh, come on. He's an animal. Put you in hospital. Nearly killed you. You can't just let him walk away.
I know. It's just his court business. I don't even want to see him.
You'll be all right. I'll look after you. And these witness assistance mob, they sound all right. Look, the cops are going to go him no matter what you do. Let's just give these mob a call and see what happens, all right?
As it says in the letter, the committal hearing will be on the 21st at the Magistrates' Court.
I'd be glad to get it over and done with.
Well, that's just the first part of the process. The committal hearing's all about making sure there's enough evidence to proceed to trial at the Supreme Court.
I was there. We know what happened.
You'll both need to give evidence at the committal. If the magistrate thinks there's enough evidence, then Robbie will proceed to trial at the Supreme Court.
And I have to give my side of the story then too.
That's right.
So there's 2 lots of court.
Yes, and the trial itself could be about 6 months down the line, depending on how busy the courts are. How are you getting on?
I've got another checkup this Thursday at the hospital. It still bloody hurts, and I'm not sleeping much. I keep thinking he's creeping around the house at night.
If he breaches his bail conditions, then the police can remand him in custody.
He should be in jail now, the animal.
You've got to be patient. It's the way the system works. It takes a while, but it works pretty well. Just remember, take your time, listen to the questions carefully, and speak up nice and loud. Oh, and you're supposed to call the magistrate your worship or sir, whatever's easier.
I get nervous just thinking about being in the same room with him. I don't know if I can say anything with him looking at me. Can Trisha come in with me too?
No, you have to give your evidence separately. Before you start, you'll have to make an oath to swear to tell the truth on the Bible.
Yeah?
Or you can affirm, that is, make a promise to tell the truth without the Bible.
I will tell the truth, don't worry. I just get all...
You'll be fine. What we can do is apply to the courts for you to be a vulnerable witness. This means you can give your evidence from another room at the court through a closed-circuit TV room, or you can be behind a screen.
And I won't have to see him?
No, and he won't see you. What if next week I take you down to the courts to show you how things work and you can see for yourself?
If you are a vulnerable witness, the Magistrates Court in the major centres have closed-circuit television that lets you give your evidence from another room.
Now this is how this closed-circuit TV works.
This can make it easier for you to give evidence or to tell your story without being intimidated by the person who has been charged with doing the crime.
Okay, so come and see me on Tuesday and we can talk to the prosecutor about what happened, and they'll be able to tell you what to do as a witness in court. You'll be all right.
My job is to put forward the evidence to take the case through to the Supreme Court. Now, it's important for you to be very clear in court about exactly what happened, because there'll be another lawyer acting in defence of Robbie who may try and make you look like an unreliable witness.
What do you mean?
Well, if you say one thing and then change your mind and say something different, it just looks as if you're not sure about what happened.
Okay.
The other thing the defence lawyer might try and do is make it look as if you provoked Robbie or started the violence and he was only defending himself.
But that's bullshit. He came home full drunk and started having a go at me.
I know, but these are things that the defence lawyer might try and do to get his client, the defendant, off the charges. In court, Robbie is sometimes going to be called the accused or the defendant. Now, I'll be asking you questions first. I'm going to ask you about what happened that night, and I want you to tell me as truthfully and as clearly as you can.
All right.
After some introductory questions, asking what your name is, where you live, that sort of thing, I'll be asking you about what happened.
Some of the questions asked in court might upset you or make you feel shame. But you must think carefully and answer clearly. Speak up and stick up for yourself. Don't let anyone put words in your mouth. Only say what you know, and if you don't understand a question, don't be frightened to ask what they mean before answering it.
I might begin by asking, what happened on the 9th of September last year?
I was at home. I was watching some telly. I put Patrick to sleep, and Robbie had come home from the pub, and he was really drunk.
Could hardly stand up. In a really filthy mood, and starts picking a fight with me.
What did he say to you?
He comes in and starts calling me a fucking bitch. Oops, can I say that in court?
Yes, you can. And you should. The court needs to hear about everything that happened that night. If someone used swear words at the time, then you need to use those same words when giving evidence.
Just say what happened. It'll be all right.
Okay, so let's pretend I'm now Robbie's lawyer. Your relationship to my client, Mr. Clark, would you describe it as a happy one?
We got on all right.
Were you angry with Mr. Clark before he got home that night?
That's only because he was out spending his money again.
Try to stay calm. Answer only what the other lawyer asks you. Okay, so you were angry with the defendant when he came home?
Yes.
And were you very angry?
Yes.
And also drunk? Isn't it true that you'd been drinking that night?
No.
Isn't it true that the police have often been called around to break up disturbances at your house?
Yes.
And when Mr. Clark came home that night, you swore at him and began to abuse him.
No!
You verbally attacked him, didn't you?
I didn't attack him. He came at me. He said I'd been seeing other fellas behind his back, and then he come up and smacked me one in the face.
Okay, so you can see what can happen. The defence lawyer will ask you questions which may make you look bad.
Can they do that?
Yes, they're allowed to ask questions like that. It's how the system works. Both sides will get to say what happened and the magistrate will decide whether the case will proceed.
And what happens to him after that? I heard he's been saying he's going to get me for going him in court.
I'll apply to have him remanded in custody until the Supreme Court hearing.
You mean locked up?
Yes. We can't have you worried about him hassling you again. And don't worry. Just tell the court exactly what happened and things should go fine. Let's just take it step by step.
If the defendant has breached his bail conditions to stay away from Sandy, the prosecutor will apply to the court to have him remanded in custody until the trial.
Silence in the court will stand. The Court of Summary Jurisdiction is now in session. Please be seated.
Are we all ready?
Yes, Your Worship. The matter of Robert James Clark, charged with unlawfully causing grievous harm.
Hey, how you going?
It's a bit boring. How much longer do you reckon?
Hard to say. There's a whole lot of lawyer talk going on at the moment. The police and the ambulance might give their evidence before you.
I wish they'd hurry up. It's making me nervous.
You'll be all right.
Your Worship, I call Sandra Collins.
Sandra Collins.
Okay, you're up now. You'll be fine. Come on, let's go.
Do you wish to swear an oath or make an affirmation?
On the Bible.
Please take the Bible in your right hand. The evidence you're about to give in court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Please say, so help me God.
So help me God.
Please take a seat.
Is your name Sandy Collins?
Yes.
Do you live at number 10 Evans Street?
Yes.
Do you know Robbie Clark?
Yes, I do.
Did you see him on the 9th of September 2003?
Yes, I did.
What happened that night?
Robbie came home very drunk and...
Sometimes you get asked a lot of funny questions. The people at the court have to be sure of all the information. Answer them as best you can. It can also take a long time, sometimes hours, but be patient.
Yes, he had been.
I have no further re-examination, Your Worship. May the witness be excused.
Witnesses excused. Any further witnesses?
Yes, Your Worship. I call Patricia Todd.
Patricia Todd. Patricia Todd.
A magistrate must hear all the evidence from the witnesses of a crime so they can decide if there is enough evidence to proceed to have a jury trial in the Supreme Court. The magistrate has heard all the evidence from all the witnesses and has made the decision to commit Robert Clark to a jury trial at the Supreme Court.
Okay, he's been committed for trial.
Oh.
And he's been remanded in custody so you can relax until the Supreme Court.
When's that going to be?
It'll be a while, but I'll let you know when I find out.
Oh, God, I wish it was all finished up now.
Hey, you're doing okay. Let's get out of here. So when's the big day?
Monday week. They say the trial could last for 5 days.
5 days? They don't muck around that mob.
I have to have another meeting with the lawyer tomorrow. There's going to be a jury and everything. Want to come?
For sure, sis.
The case is still strong, and if you tell your story like you did in the committal hearing, things should go well.
Just say what happened. You did a good job of doing that the last time.
Will he go to jail?
Sandy, if the jury finds him guilty, the judge will decide on the sentence. But Robbie has a history of violence. What he did to you is very serious, so he probably will go to jail.
I know, but Patrick really likes him. And he's all right when he's not drunk.
Just think about the impact of what he's done to your life. You're still having trouble sleeping. You've spent months in pain after the attack.
Sandy, have you completed a victim impact statement?
We're working on that.
The victim impact statement is a document that tells the judge how you feel about what happened. You don't have to put one in, but it's a chance for you to tell the judge how the crime has affected you. You could talk about how it's affected you emotionally or any other impact on your life because of the crime. The judge will read your victim impact statement before he decides on what to do with Robbie.
Sandy, I'll be taking over the prosecution for the Supreme Court part of this.
Now, the Supreme Court is a bit different. All the lawyers have to wear these big robes.
And the wigs.
Can't forget about the wigs.
There you go. What do you reckon?
Looks like you've got a new helper.
The trial will happen in a room like this. It's where the jury will decide if Robbie Clark, the accused, is guilty or not guilty. The jury of 12 people has been picked by chance from the electoral roll, the people who vote. As you can see, the court looks different to the magistrates' court, where the committal was held. For a start, the judge and the barristers all wear wigs and gowns. It's been this way for a long time. The judge sits here, and in front of the judge is the judge's associate and the court orderly. In the Supreme Court, you call the judge Your Honour or Sir. Everything in the court is recorded and typed up. The lawyers sit here at this table, with the Crown Prosecutor at the end closest to the jury, and the lawyer for Robbie Clark at the other. The accused, Robbie Clark, sits in the dock with a court guard next to him. You'll be waiting outside the courtroom until you're called to give evidence. You can have your family come to court with you to support you. There's also a special room for children. After taking the oath or affirmation, you'll tell your side of what happened and answer any questions from here in the witness box. In sexual offence cases, such as cases involving women's business or children under 16, the court is closed to members of the public and the media while the victims are giving evidence. After you've given your evidence and been excused by the judge, you can either take a seat at the back of the court or leave.
Silence. All stand. This honourable court is now in session. Please be seated.
Yes, Your Honour, because of the nature of this alleged offence, I seek to have the alleged victim declared a vulnerable witness. It is my submission, Your Honour, that the witness would be intimidated by the accused if he is in her view. She may not be able to give evidence adequately, and in fact she might be unduly harmed by giving evidence without the benefit of a support person and a screen.
Any objections, Mr Martin?
Yes, Your Honour. As this is not a sexual offence, there is no need for any such protections.
Your Honour, in my submission, this is a matter that clearly comes within the...
After further argument between the lawyers, the judge decided that a screen would be allowed, as well as a support person. Like the Magistrates' Court, other arrangements like using the closed-circuit TV can be made to help you give evidence. Just ask.
Patricia Todd. Patricia Todd. Please take the Bible in your right hand.
Would you tell the court your full name?
Patricia Nangala Todd.
And could you please tell the court where you were on the evening of 9 September 2003?
Well, I was out on my...
While Tricia was questioned and cross-examined by lawyers, Sandy and her family waited outside. Apart from a couple of short breaks and lunchtime, it went on for most of the day. Sometimes it's a good idea to take something with you to help pass the time. Luckily, Sandy had some of her family to keep her company.
Sandra Collins? Sandra Collins. Please take the Bible in your right hand. The evidence you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Please say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Yes, would you tell the court, is your full name Sandra Collins?
Yes.
Can you tell us where you live?
At 54 Smith Street, Milner.
Do you live there with anyone else?
Yes, I live there with Robbie, my partner, and my little boy.
All right, and the person that you've referred to as Robbie, can you tell us his full name?
Robert Clark.
All right, and how long have you known him for?
8 years.
And how long have you lived together?
About 6 years.
You're here to talk about something that happened on the 9th of September 2003. Is that right?
Yes.
Where did that incident happen?
At my place.
Sandy, what happened that night?
I was at home and Robbie came home.
And about what time was that?
It was about 2 o'clock in the morning.
And when had you last seen him before that time?
It was at lunchtime and Robbie was going to the pub with his cousin Jack.
All right, Sandy, can you tell us what happened when he came home?
He was angry, he was shouting and he was swearing. And he was humbugging me about this bloke. Reckon I was chatting him up at the pub.
Did you notice anything else about him when he came in?
Well, I knew he'd been drinking because I could smell the grog on him and it was really strong.
And when he was humbugging you, what was he saying?
He was shouting at me and he was calling me a fucking bitch. And then that's when he come up and he smacked me one.
Tell me, you bitch!
He smacked me one with his fist. He hit me.
Where did he hit you?
On my face.
You pointed to your left cheek when you said that, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and when he hit you, can you please explain what part of him came into contact with you?
His hand.
Was his hand opened or closed?
It was closed.
And for the purpose of the transcript, Your Honour, the witness has indicated a clenched fist. And what happened next?
Then he kept smacking me one and I was on the floor and I couldn't get up and he's just started punching into me.
Sandy wondered how many more times she would have to go over it all. It has to be this way so that everyone in court, especially the jury, understands what Sandy has gone through. The hardest part for Sandy was yet to come. It was too late to have it today, so the cross-examination was held over until the next morning.
This honourable court is now adjourned.
It's the job of the defence barrister to put the accused side to the witness and test the evidence.
Do you understand
That's
that
when
you've
you
got to
really
speak
have
the
to
truth
stick
here
up for
today?
yourself.
And
Even if you
is there
feel
any truth
upset,
in the,
you must
rumour
speak
that you
up.
may have been drunk?
Tell exactly what happened. What you remember. Don't freeze up and say yes or no for the sake of it.
Now, Miss Collins, you've told your story about this on 2 occasions prior to this, is that right?
Yeah.
In your statement to the police and in the magistrate's court?
Yeah.
Now, do you understand that you've got to speak the truth today?
Yes.
You say that Mr. Clark punched you.
Yes, that's right.
I suggest to you that you initiated the violence by throwing a chair at him.
He's lying. He lifted me first. He's the one that got wild and knocked me down. He was on top of me and I couldn't move and I was struggling, and then Trisha came from behind and she pulled him away. And he had a star picket, and then he came at me and then he kept on stabbing me with this star picket.
So it wouldn't be true to say that you attacked him first?
I'm the one that got smashed up, not him.
Isn't it the case that what really happened was that you were drunk and you got very angry with Mr. Clark because he wanted to leave, and that you hit him first?
No, that's Robbie Clark telling lies.
A lie, Mrs. Collins? Who's telling lies?
I'm not lying, he's telling lies.
It might be a convenient time to have our morning break. At this stage of your evidence, Miss Collins, you must refrain from speaking to anybody else about it. We'll resume again at 11 o'clock.
Silence. All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned.
The cross-examination of Sandy continued until the next day. It was then up to the jury to decide whether Robbie Clark was guilty or not guilty. If the jury finds him guilty, he will be sentenced straight after the trial or on another day. He then has 28 days to appeal or fight the decision. If the jury finds Robbie Clark not guilty, he will be free to go home. This wouldn't mean that the jurors didn't believe Sandy. They may have felt that the evidence wasn't strong enough to find Robbie Clark guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. In other words, if you're seriously injured or busted up, the jury may feel there's not enough information to prove he definitely did it. Whatever the outcome, it's important to do your best to see that justice is done in our community.
He unlawfully caused grievous harm to Sandra Collins.
Guilty.
And is that the verdict of you all?
Yes, it is.
Sandy can go back to her life now that Robbie is being punished for his crime. It's taken a lot of courage, patience and determination, but in the end she knows that it was the right thing to do. Remember that the Witness Assistance Service is there to help you and support you through what can be a pretty difficult time. Make sure you give them a call and they'll do their best to help you through your court story.
All I wanna do is talk to you, baby. All I wanna do is be your son. At the end of the day, I still want my life with you. Some people get on so fine.